President Ranil addressed the UN General Assembly in New York around 10 p.m. Sri Lanka time yesterday, reflecting on the theme of rebuilding trust and reigniting solidarity and its relevance to Sri Lanka's recent challenges.
At this time last year, amidst multiple global crises, Sri Lanka was experiencing its most challenging period in recent times, socially, economically, and politically, which had a devastating impact on people's lives. Even our democratic traditions were threatened by attempts to occupy our parliament and bring it to a halt. Nevertheless, we succeeded in bringing about a democratic political transition due to our deeply entrenched and resilient democratic traditions. Restoring to the regraduation of Sri Lanka's economy, coupled with the gift of fertilizer from the United States government, which led to a bumper harvest, has assisted us in ensuring stability during that period. The reforms I have since initiated in the economic, financial, institutional, and reconciliation fronts have been directed on the one hand towards rebuilding trust and confidence between the people and the government, and on the other towards laying the foundation for economic stabilization and recovery. Sri Lankans are already witnessing the positive outcomes of these measures in their daily lives and the revival of confidence internally and externally in the progress of the country. It is my intention to lead the country towards sustainable and stable recovery and growth, which will benefit all segments of Sri Lankan society in all parts of the country, ensuring a future of peace, prosperity, and reconciliation for the present and future generations of women and men. In reaching this goal, we will be accompanied by the support, trust, and solidarity of our own people and of the international community. We see a world where former big power rivalries and geopolitical tensions have reignited in open war, overlapping with new theaters of conflict and tension on land and in the oceans. Security alliances have expanded, and recent arrangements have been formed to deal with strategic threats perceptions in old and new theaters of conflict. North-South divisions are widening with the digital divide, the financial and debt crisis, and the energy transition. Contrary to the promise of 2030, today we are seeing levels of poverty and hunger not witnessed in decades. Neutral, non-aligned countries of the global south, such as Sri Lanka, are once again constrained in between new global power configurations, facing those who do not respect the sovereignty of our nations. As a climate-vulnerable developing country in debt crisis, the urgency to mobilize climate finance is greater today than it was ever before. However, despite promises made to which we were all witnesses, the rich countries are not delivering to expectation. Developed countries must do their part and fulfill what they agreed, assume their share of the common but differentiated responsibility, provide assistance for mitigation and adaptation and compensation for loss and damage. National efforts alone will not suffice to ensure the success of the SDGs and reverse climate change. The need for global solidarity to restructure international financial architecture is paramount. If we are unable to restructure the global fiscal order, then certainly we will fail in the struggle to reverse climate change and achieve the SDG goals. There is still time for course correction as the crisis has not reached its peak. This must be the priority of the General Assembly. We cannot afford to allow divisions to drive focus away from this crisis. Unfortunately, the Security Council has failed to give priority to these connected issues of climate change, debt relief, and sustainable development. This impacts the future of the mankind. The survival of the planet must be our priority. We cannot afford to go into this war with a divided high command. The future of all species on the globe is dependent on our ability to put aside our rivalries until this crisis is solved. The composition of the Security Council must be expanded to be representative of current global diversity and decision making. In parallel, the role of the UN General Assembly must be strengthened. We are asking that the permanent members engage in a credible dialogue which will lead to a unified approach to combat these threats ahead of the next sessions. This international system is today undergoing vast changes. At the same time, it's been confronted with unprecedented challenges. We come to the United Nations to demonstrate solidarity in arriving at common solutions. What is at stake is not the future of the United Nations, but our planet as a whole. Member states will need to find new ways of working together despite increasing mistrust that has permeated international relations.